So now we are going to revise class 8 chapter 5 of geography human resources. Let's see what is the concept of human resource. So we have already learned in the first chapter that resources are something which help us to fulfill our needs, right? So and resources, we also know that they are divided into three types. One, we have natural resource, then we have man-made resources, and then we have human resources. So in this chapter we are going to learn about human resources because human is the only one who creates other resources. So that's why we are going to learn about human resources. Let's learn about it. So people are a nation's greatest resource. I have given you the reason also just before 1 minute, that they have the ability to create resources. That's why they are the greatest resources. So nature's bounty, which is the gift of nature, becomes significant only when the people find it useful. It is people with their demands and ability that turn them into resources. Hence, human resource is the ultimate resource. Healthy, educated, and motivated people develop resources as per their requirements. So we need to understand that there are 3-4 things about human which makes them resource. Like healthy, they should be healthy mentally and physically both. Then they should be educated, because that will help them to serve the country. And then they will be having some knowledge about the natural things and everything. Then we want motivated people. There are many people who are very intelligent, who are having capability, potential, but they are not motivated to work. They are not motivated to contribute to nations, you can say nations development. So then they are not going to become the human resource. Only those are human resource who are motivated, who are skilled, who are healthy, who can serve the nation. That's how. And educated also. Then we have distribution of population. So on the earth we know that nothing is equally distributed. Okay, so in the same way population is also unevenly distributed, and that is known as the pattern of population distribution. More than 90% of the world's population lives in about 30% of the land surface. And then we have some areas which are very crowded, because in 30% of people are living, most of the people. So then definitely that area will be crowded, and some places like the 70% of the land where only 10% population lives, so that would always be sparsely populated. Okay, so this is what it is written here. Now there are some part of like some continent, or some part of the continents are we can say more populated. So the crowded areas are South and Southeast Asia, Europe, and the Northeastern America. Okay, so these are certain places you should see on the map, and you should find out that India lies in the Southeast Asia. Okay, so that's why India and China both are the two most populated countries in the world and in the Southeast Asia. Then we talk about more about the distribution. How does it get affected by certain more things? Like very few people live in the high latitude areas, which is like the polar region. Why? Because there is extreme cold condition, and people cannot live there. And same with the tropical desert, where there is only dryness, there is only heat. People cannot live there. High mountains, because their construction is difficult. Areas of equatorial forest, in the forest region, yes, many species live, flora, fauna we find there, but human beings are very less in number over there. The tribals only can live there, who are the original inhabitants of that place. Then we have many more people live north of the equator than south of the equator. So if you will see the map of world, let me show. If here we have, I think we don't have. So if you see the map of world, you will see north of the equator are more continental area, more land part. That's why there you find more population. Almost 3/4 of the world's people live in two continents, which are Asia and Africa. 60% of the population stay in 10 countries, and those 10 countries are given like this. So it starts with China in your book, but you know the data that India is now having the highest population, but according to your book you will go, so it is China first, then India, then USA, then Indonesia, then Brazil, then Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nigeria, Russian Federation, and then Japan. Now we'll talk about one more important concept, which is density of population. So population density is the number of people living in a unit of Earth's surface. Here we need to understand then that when we see the population in relation with the per square kilometer area, then it becomes population density. So India's population density will be talking about, and the world's population density also. It is normally expressed as per square kilometer. If you are well versed in maths, you know the basic concepts, you will understand how do we calculate area. So you will understand the square kilometer is that part coming from there, and then number of people. So that's why it is as per square kilometer. Persons as per square kilometer. The average density of the world population is 51 persons per square kilometer, and if we talk about India's population density according to the data of 2011 census, it is 382 persons per square kilometer. Then we have certain factors which can affect the population. We know that population is unevenly distributed, but there should be some reason, there must be some reasons for that uneven distribution. So there are geographical factors, and then social, cultural, and economic factors. There are many others, but right now we have to learn only these factors. So geographical factors which are related to your earth's physical things, like the topography, how is the nature of land, how is the climate of any place, how is the soil, it is fertile or not, water, mineral, and other geographical factors. Then we talk about social, cultural. So there are some factors which we will be talking in the coming slides. So topography, people always prefer to live on the plains rather than mountains. As I told you, in mountainous area, construction work is little difficult. There will be always there will be some danger of or fear of landslides and many other disasters, so it is not suitable. But if we talk about plain area, that is quite suitable because of its flat land, because of its we can say fertility, soil fertility, and many other things. We'll be talking about it. Then we have Ganga Plains as an example, which is densely populated in India. Why? Because it has rivers, it has plain area, it has fertile soil, and construction is easy over there. So all these things make it suitable. And if we talk about world, so Andes, mountains of Andes, Alps, Himalaya are sparsely populated. So both the examples are given. Why people will be living in the fertile plains, and why they will not live in the mountainous region. Okay, now then climate and soil. So climate, people usually avoid extreme climates that are very hot or very cold, like Sahara Desert, polar region, or Russia or Canada and Antarctica. So these are having extreme climates where people cannot survive. But if we talk about the temperate zone, where India is also located, half in temperate zone and half in equatorial region, so this there they can get good condition, temperate, where they can adapt easily. So there these people, most of the people live. Then we have soil, fertile soil required. As I told you, agriculture is the one thing which provides you food. Without food you cannot survive. So you need fertile soil. So where there are rivers like Ganga, Brahmaputra, Huanghe, Changjiang, Nile River, and these rivers are the reason for the settlement of people. If you remember Indus River, there Indus Valley civilization you can find. And if we talk about Egyptian civilization, that was also near Nile River. So river it can be a reason for settlement of people around it. Then we have water and mineral. River, I have already told you, river valleys are having good population. Okay, next we have minerals. Minerals, we have the area like plateau region, there will be more minerals and people will be attracted because they will get job there, and then people will work over there and they will live there. So that's why wherever there will be minerals, there will be more population. Then we have social and cultural factors. So social factor means your society, how is it, people are living peacefully, you have all the facilities around in your society like school, like you can say hospital, market, and all these places which are required by you, housing, good housing. So if these all facilities are available, so you would like to live in those societies. So this is the social factor. Then we talk about the cultural factor. People tend to live in those areas where they get connectivity to their culture, to their own people. They find their own people, they want to live with them. So culture matters a lot. Then we have economic factor. If you will get good job in any area like you get in Delhi, so people attract towards this place. So this is very important that you get good job opportunities. People will shift to that place, those places like Osaka in Japan, Mumbai, Delhi in India. So these are the places. Now history of world population. So if we have to talk about history of world population, we know that in the beginning population was growing in a very steady manner. Slow process it was, because that time death rate was also high and birth rate, both were high, because of which as many as people were taking birth, they were dying in the same way. So population was quite slow growing, it was growing very slow. Next we have, let's talk about the details which are given in the book. For an extremely long period of human history until 1800s, the world population grew steadily but slowly. Large number of babies were born, but they died early too. That was what I was telling right now. This was as there were no proper health facilities. Farmers were not able to produce enough to meet the food requirements of the people. In 1804, the world's population reached 1 billion. Okay, and see now after this 1804, 1 billion, and then population will grow a little faster because things will get better, health facilities will be better, people will get food, people will get like doctors, so they can cure the diseases. So this way the population started growing faster. 55 years, in 1959 the world's population reached to 3 billion. This is called population explosion. And then in 1999, 40 years later, the population doubled to 6 billion. Now you can see how population is exploding. So this is called population explosion. Then we will be talking about the main reason for this growth, which was better food supply, medicine, deaths reduced. Then we see that people, like the birth was fairly high at that time. Birth and death are the natural causes of population change, but the population increase in the world is mainly due to rapid increase in natural growth rate. What is the meaning of natural growth rate? It is actually the difference between birth rate and death rate. It is known as natural growth rate. So suppose if I give you one example, so suppose birth rate was 2% and death rate was 1%. 2% will be 1% will be subtracted from 2%, and 1% will become the natural growth rate, which is the thing what you get after subtracting death rate from the birth rate. Next we have the main factors of the population change, which is birth rate, death rate, and your migration. Natural growth rate is the calculation which we have discussed right now. So what is birth rate? The number of babies born every year per thousand people in a population, that is known as birth rate. And then if we talk about death rate, it is the number of deaths every year per thousand, that is known as the death rate. Okay, now next is natural growth rate. I have already explained you the difference between the birth rate and death rate of a country is called natural growth rate. So natural increase in a population occurs where birth rate is higher than the death rate. This, if you've understood, you will understand the concept of birth rate and death rate and natural growth rate. So when birth rate is more than the death rate, this situation is called population increase. When birth rate and death rate are same, this situation is called population steady population. And when the death rate is more than the birth rate, this situation will be known as population decrease. Now, patterns of population change. So how population is changing throughout the world. So rates of population growth vary across the world. Although the world's population, total population is rising rapidly, like if we see average, we see that population is rising rapidly, but it's not happening in every country, okay? Things are different. Some countries like Kenya have high population growth rate, and in other countries like United Kingdom, population growth rate is slow. Then population change. Population change refers to the change in the number of people during a specific time. The world population has been stable. This is actually due to the change in the number of births and deaths. Births are usually measured using the birth rate, and deaths are usually measured in death rate in all the countries. This is the map where you can see the natural increase of population throughout the world. So where there is darker shade, you see population increasing there in very fast manner, okay? Population rate, annual rate is higher, and where you see the lighter colors, their population annual growth rate is less. Now come to the population change. Population change. What is population change? Population composition. So what is population composition? I think we have missed one thing, which is migration. Okay, so I'm explaining migration. Migration is again one of the reasons for population change in the world. What it is the in and out movement of people from one country to another. Okay, they can come to one country, they can move out from a country. Both the movements will be called as migration. And migration has two types. One is immigration and one is emigration. Okay, so where it starts with E, here population, like some people are exiting from a country, leaving a country or a city or a village, that is known as emigration. And if we talk about immigration means when you are entering in a country, I wala. So in and I, you remember this. So this way population is entering in a country, okay? So this is one again important concepts, and those who are entering in a country, they will be known as immigrants, and those who are leaving a country, they will be known as emigrants, okay? So this, now population composition. It is very important to understand a country's population by knowing the literacy rate, by knowing the gender of population, by knowing their age groups, so that the government can plan in the same way. So that's why government does census, different surveys, okay? And through and to know the composition of population, we have one method which is known as population pyramid. Let's understand about it. To understand the role of people as a resource, we need to know more about their qualities. People vary greatly in their age, sex, literacy level, health condition, occupation, income level, and these are the components of population, okay? It is essential to understand these characteristics of the people. Population composition refers to the structure of population. So the composition of population help us to know how many are male or females, which age group they belong to, how educated they are, and what type of occupation they are employed in, what their income level and health conditions are. An interesting way of studying population composition of a country is by looking at the population pyramid. Now what is population pyramid? So first I will show you what is population pyramid, then we will discuss. This is population pyramid, where you can see there is one x-axis and then y-axis. We'll discuss it after understanding it a little bit. So, population pyramid is also called as age sex pyramid. It shows the total number of population divided into various age groups, 5 to 9 years, 10 to 14 years, and like this you can continue. It shows the percentage of the total population subdivided into males and females in each of those groups. The shape of population pyramid tells the story of the people living in that particular country. Now understand how. So the number of children below 15 years are shown at the bottom and reflect the level of birth. So if the bottom is broad, it means more children are taking birth over there. The size of the top shows the number of aged people who are like old people above 65 and reflects the number of deaths. And it also tells us how many dependents are there in a country. There are two groups of dependents. One is young dependents and other is elderly dependents. Okay, now we'll be understanding one by one all the pyramid given in your book. There are three pyramids, one of Kenya, one of India, and one of Japan. Why these three? Because Kenya is a underdeveloped country. Then you have India, which is developing country, and then there is a developed country, which is Japan. So all three examples will help you to understand the whole scenario of the world population. The population pyramid of a country in which birth and death rates both are high is broad at the base and rapidly narrows towards the top. This is because although many children are born, a large percentage of them die in their infancy, like when they are below 1 year. So at that time they die. Okay, relatively few become adults and there are very few old. So this you can see the pyramid and you can understand that on the y-axis we have age groups, on x-axis we have the number of male and female. 0 is in the center. From 0 you will be checking male and female in the graph. Now population pyramid of India. In India, in the countries where death rates, especially amongst the very young, are decreasing, the pyramid is broad in the younger age groups because more infants survive to adulthood. Such population contain a relatively large number of young people, which means a strong and expanding labor force, which is in India. Okay, and you see the base is not that broad. It means we have controlled the birth. Population pyramid of Japan. In countries like Japan, low birth rate make the pyramid narrow at the base. Decreased death rate allow number of people to reach old age. This is your Japan's pyramid. It is quite different. It looks like bell shaped if you see it carefully. Conclusion. So after understanding everything, we see that skilled, spirited and which is motivated and hopeful young people endowed with a positive outlook are the future of any nation. Like you are learning right now and later you will become youth, and if you are educated, you are skilled, you are having that motivation to serve to the country, you will definitely become good resources. Okay, we in India are fortunate to have such a resource. They must be educated and provided skills and opportunities to become able and productive. With this we finish the chapter, but there is one topic which is Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana. That is one kind of scheme which government runs to train people, to skill people, to give them certain trainings so that they can become the resources. And it was started in 2015 and it has a target to train 1 crore people by 2020. It was. Now you have to check how many other schemes are there. So with this we have finished the revision. I hope you understood it well. If it's helpful, then share with other students so that they also get some help. Thank you so much.